right. Once again, now that we've talked for like 2.5 hours,
It is like
off the record.
It is 4:00. It's
Are you
4:02.
fucking serious?
Yeah, we talked
Oh
for
my god.
1 hour
Ah!
about escorts and bench pressing and smut.
Fan fiction, editing, AI. Man, we were all over the place today.
Yep. Alpha doms.
The Omega verse. Mpreg.
Oh my god.
Let me either summon the weirdos or get the normies out of here real quick. All right, let's do this. Greetings.
Hello.
Welcome to or welcome back to Morbid Mondays, your weekly source for what the fuck moments throughout all of history. I am stumbling so hard today. Jesus Christ. Am I okay? I think I am. I'm not overly caffeinated. But anyway, so this is the podcast where we will take turns giving you a weekly tour through all of the gross, gory, downright
Odd moments in history.
You ever just have one of those moments where your entire brain just like cuts off mid-word and you're just duel. You've activated my trap card.
Duel.
Fuck. All right. Hang on. No.
Joey Wheeler was the best duelist statistically.
I'm inclined to agree. However, we all know that I've got a thing for white-haired villains.
Pegasus?
Listen, I'm not proud of it. I was like 13.
Yeah.
And still like toxically in love with Sephiroth.
Pegasus did have that Sephiroth look, but like if Pegasus was Colonel Sanders.
It was the polo tie, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And the suit, the cut of the suit.
Listen, I said I wasn't proud of it, okay? Fucking
Yeah.
cut that out and start over.
No, this is great.
No.
So what's our topic today?
So, all right.
Or rather, trigger warnings.
So I didn't write down any trigger warnings for this, but trigger warnings are death, blood, weird science, bad medicine, bad decisions, mentions of slavery. I think that's really it. Today's not really like a hard episode. Like I figured we traumatized everybody enough with the episode from last week.
Yeah.
Because that was a rough one.
It was.
So I figured I would take a kind of like morbidly funny approach to this.
Okay.
So I told you in the car that we were doing a zombie president today. Did you know, Brian, dear listeners, friends, Romans, countrymen, that when George Washington died, yes, that George Washington, father of the U.S., the first president, our OG commander-in-chief, there was a harebrained plot to bring him back to life.
What? I thought, hold on, give me just a second. Okay, so I was aware that George Washington was like paraded around as like in his casket like Abraham Lincoln was.
Oh yeah, there was a great like procession when he died.
What? Please tell me this has something to do with Benjamin Franklin.
Alas, no.
Oh.
I know. You'd think, right? Like it's alive, but alas, no.
I tied a kite to him.
All right. So let me set the scene for you really quick. So everybody's pretty familiar, hopefully, with George Washington. I mean, if you're not, he was the U.S.'s first president. He was the general under which we won our independence, and then like was unanimously agreed to be like, you're in fucking charge. And he went, okay, sure.
Killed a couple of cherry trees. Wouldn't
tell a lie about it.
But crazy teeth.
Oh, the wooden teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Early dentures. That's a good one too. Early dentures was fucked.
Nightmare.
Oh yeah, slave teeth in like wooden braces and
Yeah.
like they would anyway. It's bad, and I can probably do an entire episode on that.
Yeah.
If not, I may be able to do like a short like congloma-fuck episode.
So like, how did they attempt to? Because we glossed over zombie president
Yeah.
real fast.
So, well, I mean, it's fun. So zombie George Washington. Let me gloss you over his life really quick and death, because we'll kind of start with his death and like work our way backwards. So to give everyone kind of some context for the time. So December 14th, 1799, the father of the U.S. nation dies, and it's very, very tragic, and it's all very sad, and it has a lot to do with really shitty medicine. And I say this with so much emphasis because I grew up medical. Both of my parents were medical. My mother was a registered nurse. She was working on becoming like a nurse practitioner. My father was a corpsman in the Navy. So hilariously, I was talking to my nurse practitioner friend while I was doing the research for this, and we were both screaming about the treatments that our dear President Washington got. We were on Discord for part of this while I was doing the research, and she was like, "The fuck!"
Oh,
She was so upset.
The bloodletting and
Yes.
the leeches.
No, not the leeches. This is past the leeches. But everybody knows George Washington's story, right? And if you don't hear it, let me give you like the most skeleton of outlines here. He was born in 1732, February 22nd. So, hey, Mr. President, you got a birthday coming up. The French and Indian War, he fought in that. That was from 1754 to 1763. He got married in 1759, and it was an absolute love match. Everybody knows,
Right? Yeah, Martha.
Mrs. Washington. Yes. That's also very, very rare, and like speaks to the romantic in my soul, because like not only was it an arranged marriage, but like they met and went yes.
Yeah, like famously so.
Yeah.
I would have said that.
Like they were deeply in fucking love, and it's precious and sweet, and I love that. Unfortunately, also slave owners, so you get docked lots of points for that. But anyway, moving on. Then there's the Revolutionary War in 1775, 1783. Everybody knows about that. And then it ended. We won. And he was like, oh, fuck, who's going to be in charge? And then everybody else went, you motherfucker. And he went, well, shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, several people wanted him to actually be like a king.
Yeah, and he was like, no, fuck that. We're putting caps on terms. And so from 1789 to 1797, he was president. And then he was like, fuck this shit, I'm out, and retired. I don't want to be in charge anymore. No, thank you. Bye. And he left. So this is during the period of, and he left. He was done with this shit. And he was like, I'm going to go, like, be on vacation for the rest of my life.
Jesus Christ. All I can think is like Washington sleigh, sashay away.
Honestly, from all accounts, like from reading like bits of his biography and from what was said about him, he might have.
Yeah.
He seemed like when he was on the job, he was like legit laser focused. But like homeboy also loved to play.
Yeah.
Which I'm down for. Like, let's play Cards Against Humanity sometime, Mr. President. Anyway. No, let's not. I am unhinged with Cards Against Humanity.
I thought you were just having a sudden realization that he was from the 1700s and you would absolutely hate him in real life.
You are correct.
He would be like, a woman in pants?
And with purple hair.
It'd blow his mind. Yeah.
Purple hair, multiple piercings, a foul mouth.
Yeah.
An education. No. Anyway, so also, did you know, dear listeners, that there is
Catholic.
I am not Catholic. My parents were. I'm not. I'm something else entirely. So there is a long-standing joke in my house because, as lots of you know, as per my previous off-topic rants, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Right? Massive. Like, it's a problem. Like, I still at this very moment have one of the have an emblem as a necklace. Like it's the shilling from one of the Assassin's Creed games. Anyway,
Syndicate.
yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of the name. I appreciate that. But I could absolutely think of Evie Fry. Anyway. So in Assassin's Creed 3, it takes place during the American Revolution, right? I very famously desynced from this game by murdering the fuck out of George Washington.
Which you were perched on a tent, and then he walked up and looked at you.
He
and
learned it on me. And I just reactionary was like, nope. Gack. Desynced. You have killed a founding father.
As the Native American man, and I am positive, many Native American men throughout history have fantasized what you got to play through.
I absolutely murdered George Washington. My partner gives me shit to this day about, well, yeah, but none of the rest of us have killed a founding father. Motherfucker. And somewhere in the middle of all of that fuckery, he and his wife found a cat, a stray cat, and named that bitch after Alexander Hamilton.
That's right. That's true.
So, I said that we could, like, he was notoriously chill on his off time, right?
Yeah.
But there was one thing that he was absolutely never fucking chill about: punctuality. This man was chronically on time.
Military.
Yeah, obviously. I don't know what the fuck happened with me. Raised military, can't be on time to save my life.
Well, you never had to ride a cannon, like, in the middle of a storm because you weren't on time.
But this chronic punctuality is also a contributor of how his life ended.
Ugh.
I know, right? It sounds really ominous, but I promise it's not. So this chronic punctuality and a series of other events would eventually lead to some questionable choices on Thursday, December 12th, 1799. As the story goes, Washington was doing his thing around his lands. Like, he was supervising stuff, he was making plans, he was taking notes from his people, and he was I believe he was marking trees to be cut down for something. Yeah, it was the middle of winter, obviously, it's December. And the weather decided to take a shift on him. Like, as winter storms are wont to do. It went from, like, just kind of gray and dreary winter to, like, downpour. Washington, being Washington, played through the pain. Continued on doing his thing.
In, like, his 70s.
Yeah, in the freezing rain. And then, of course, he's a busy man, even retired. He and his wife were expected at an event that evening. And in the name of being punctual, our dear Mr. President was like, no, I'm not going to change clothes. Let's just go. He does all of his work as a landowner. I really hate saying that, but alas, that's what it was. Let's plantation owner. He questionable practices, bad decisions. Anyway, we do not support. But he goes about his day in cold, wet clothing in the middle of winter. I want to say he's at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, because he goes to some dinner party.
Yeah, it was a great big party, and
That's
rather
right. He sits down because he doesn't want to make them wait on dinner.
Correct.
Yeah.
In the name of punctuality, in the name of not keeping his hosts waiting, he gallops home, collects his wife, and then she's like, "Bro, do you want to change?" And he's like, "Nah, we gotta be on time." He's dripping wet. And they ride off to this party. And this man attends this dinner party, this social event that he's at, in sopping wet clothing, and just stays in it all night.
Yeah. Because it's his house, and he's got to, like, everybody's waiting on him. So he's got.
Yeah. So, okay. It is a commonly held belief that cold and damp will attribute to, like, being sick. Especially down here in the South. I cannot tell you how many times my mother and grandmother and various other familial elders were like, "Go dry your hair." I have very long hair. I have always had very long hair, and I was constantly getting screamed at to go dry my hair, otherwise I was going to get sick. The same reason that various uncles are like, "Go put socks on. You're going to get sick." That's not how illness works.
No, but if you're living in the 1700s and everything is kind of dirty, and then you shock your immune system.
Well, I did a little digging, and to sum up what I read, there is an indirect causality between being cold and damp and weakening the immune system, but largely it's because of the immune response from your mucous membranes drying out. Because typically when it's cold, it is less humid. And for those that understand how like your breathing works, the goop in your nose, because I'm trying to avoid saying snot on the internet, but here we are, I just said it, helps protect you from kind of ambient germs.
Yeah, sure.
By catching it and essentially like waiting it out to die. So it doesn't hit your system, so it doesn't get inside you. And like, I don't know if any of you know this or not, but like your saliva also contains various properties that will also destroy bacteria. Like digestion begins in your mouth because your saliva is in fact slightly acidic. The more you know. And basically your nose being how it is, how it's set up, the both the hair in your nose, the snot, how your breathing system is connected also helps to kind of filter germs out. And just realized I was holding my drink and gesturing with my hands at the same time. So just ice rattle. I talk with my hands a lot. Anyway, so there is a minor causality between being cold and being more susceptible to getting sick. Scientifically, it's not strictly true. It is not the source of it. It is kind of like your sinuses dried out and you are no longer able to like catch and filter harmful germs and or bacteria. So it hits your system and then you get sick because, you know, the germs.
Well, I'm kind of amazed you didn't die of hypothermia.
Yeah.
Because you're cold and wet.
This was a hardy 70-year-old man.
See, I always kind of thought he was kind of bound and determined at some point to have like a lung infection like that because of his teeth. Because his teeth were like rotting. He had to go and have them removed a lot, like stumps removed. And he had all these like fake hippo teeth and stuff in his mouth. And I remember learning when I was a kid that when you have a lot of like deep set bacteria in your mouth, that you basically aspirate it all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's constantly just going in your lungs.
And also, like, I don't know if any of you have ever had a dental abscess. That infection, your lymph nodes swell up. Like you are miserable. Yeah. So if this guy was like playing through the pain with that, fuck.
Yeah.
You had an immune system made of adamantium, bro.
He dies of pneumonia, right? Like,
no.
No?
No, he does not. Because I thought the same thing.
Was that what he would have died of normally, and then they just got wacky with the...
So here's the thing. I don't think if we're going to go into it here in just a second, but if he had not not received the medical care that he got, I think he would have been fine in a couple of days.
I remember reading about the shit they put him through, and it was like, you know, like today,
it's frustrating.
Today,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was on the phone, or not on the phone. I was on Discord and like on Messenger with my friend Jessie, who is a nurse practitioner. She is hella fucking smart. She's a wonderful person. I love her. She's also a new subscriber. Hi, Jessie. But and we were both like, what? As I just read through this series of historical documents, because there are like 4 or 5 of them, ever so slightly different. Our dear Mr. President went to dinner damp and just stayed that way all night. And he powered through, and apparently from all accounts from the guests, they had a grand time. He was in good spirits. It was a good time. Everybody joked about Mr. President being a little wet. But it was chill. They had a good time. Party ends. Everybody goes home. He and his wife and his assistant at the time. Actually, this man was his assistant for like fucking life, but it wasn't Hamilton. The night goes off as per usual. Like they have their little like post dinner meeting where George usually would read the newspaper to his wife while she did needlework of some sort, and his assistant was there. I don't know. From what I read, it sounded like they were just kind of buds. Like he was both friend and worked for him. Like a quarter of the way through the usual like newspaper reading, he was like, my throat kind of is ishy. Can you read this? And I'm just going to sit here and vibe. Interjecting modern slang on
George Washington.
George Washington.
With his foot up on like the fire grate.
I'm just going to vibe. But that is the only indicator that George Washington felt any kind of meh at this point is that like his throat was kind of itchy and he wanted some hot tea, and he let his assistant do the newspaper reading. They went to bed. Like everybody, like, all right, cool, everything's good. Bet, good night, chill, sleep well, all that jazz. He and Martha go off to bed. So there are two different accounts. One says the next morning, and then the other says in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. or so, Martha was awakened by George Washington struggling to breathe, which for anybody medical would indicate that like his tonsils have swollen. Typically, I am not medical. I was pharmacy. I do not take this for anything other than like a single grain of sand on the beach.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. Okay? But the report indicates that he was struggling to breathe and Martha panicked. Like she was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god." She woke up the whole damn household and sent like 4 different people, like 4 different runners for doctors. Meanwhile, George is like, "My throat is sore. It's swollen. It's a little hard to breathe. Can you calm down, please?" But he feels puny, which, I mean, valid. I had my tonsils taken out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I remember that. Like, I remember the going in after the surgery and then, like, the week after it where, like, I wouldn't speak because it hurt. So, I get it. I understand. So, the following morning, the doctors arrive, and he has what was a sore throat and some swelling is now actual, like, difficulty breathing. And it is the 1700s. It's the late 1700s. But they are ill-equipped to not panic. Because you also have to take into consideration, like, medical knowledge at this point. We have not graduated from you have ghosts in your blood, do cocaine about it.
No, in fact, we're not even there yet.
Yeah, we have not reached cocaine yet.
Yeah.
We're still in you have ghosts in your blood, go pray about it.
Your humors are imbalanced.
Yep.
If you've got too much phlegm, or probably less of that in the late 1700s. Definitely, we don't know what the fuck. Like, because we're in anatomy stages, but we're not like germ theory is not around yet.
The doctors are summoned, and somebody gets the bright idea to do some bloodletting. And there's some accounts indicate that it was Washington's idea. He was a firm believer in bloodletting.
He's old enough.
And any medical professional will tell you that the blood needs to stay inside the body. You need that. A long, very frustrating story short. These doctors, these medical professionals, I'm anticipating your response here, take about 32 ounces of blood
God damn.
from George Washington.
Damn.
That's
a big gulp.
that is a lot of blood. That's too much blood. You need about half of that back to like function.
Yeah, because he's like ill. It's not like you're not taking that much blood out of somebody who's like fresh and on their feet. You know what I mean?
He clearly has some sort of viral infection in the throat.
Yeah.
He has something going on like right here. Honestly, give it a couple of days, he probably would have been fine. But the fact that they took 32 ounces of blood, that's too much.
That's a lot of fucking...
That's too much. I think the human body... Let me do a quick Google real quick just to double check before I lie.
Either way, like, you're gonna cut into them. This is before antibiotics. This is before, like, carbolic acid to make this safe at all. You're just gonna take what is probably still a very sharp, clean knife, but you're gonna open somebody up. Yeah.
So
I mean, like, I say clean, but, like, I know in this time period, barber surgeons especially were notoriously gross at all times.
Mm-hmm. So when you donate blood, 32 ounces is a no-go. It's way too much. Like that is KO territory. So they took most of the blood
Jeez.
from the president
Yeah.
on top of applying blistering agents, which you're looking at me crazy, and that's okay because I didn't know what it was either. They are intentionally caustic plasters applied to pieces of the body intended to make the skin blister up to draw out whatever is wrong.
So I actually understand what they're doing, which is just really fucking weird because we joked about them being in humor theory, but this is humor theory.
Yeah.
They are trying to draw out pus.
Yeah.
Which they think is like you get sick because you have too much of one of the 4 like bodily humors.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they call them, but it's like black bile, blood, pus fun, but it's like they think that by causing your skin to pus, they are drawing out the excess
Well-
pus from your body, and like as opposed to making more pus.
Well, guess what? That's not all they did to him. They induced vomiting in a patient that already had a swollen throat,
Yeah,
difficulty breathing, and they gave him enemas.
because they're trying to get rid of the bile. Yeah,
This
which
was
is
they did everything wrong.
yeah.
All of the
Normally-
things. They dehydrated him. They exsanguinated him.
I love the fact that like our modern advice to a person who has like a sore throat or a cold is like hydrate, rest, keep yourself clean. And they're just like,
Eat a couple marshmallows.
yeah, let's pus you up, give you diarrhea, so the chicken soup fluids that you would normally intake.
Yeah. Any water or any sort of hydration that you may have managed to swallow, we have now made you vomit out or shit out. Oh, and we're going to take over half of the blood in your body,
Yeah,
half of the available blood in your body.
fucking mummify you.
Literally. This was a perfect storm of we're just going to murder you in the name of curing your sore throat.
Yeah,
Right? Okay. I'm diminishing it by saying it's a sore throat.
yeah.
He had obvious swelling. He was having difficulty breathing and speaking. I also read that it was apparently difficult for him to swallow things. I want you to know that my notes literally say, pause for discussion on how fucked this all is.
It's pretty fucked. Because if you told me, like, the only thing that I am aware of that is not antibiotics that helps is a tea that I make out of bay leaves and ginger that my wife taught me how to make.
That I have since passed on to my friend group, by the way.
And you told me the marshmallow thing.
Yes.
And so,
Marshmallows for sore throats. True story.
yeah, so, like, and then outside of that, moxicillin.
Yeah, fuck
Which
right. Yeah.
Which they did not have access to.
Not yet.
I mean, no one's ever told me, like, oh, you get a sore throat? You need to, like, have diarrhea about it.
Oh, you got a sore throat? Let me remove like a pint and a half of blood from you.
Yeah, which I'm going to do by cutting the vein in your ankles open, by the way.
Seriously. I will never, like, I have read, like, so many old medical journals on, like, bloodletting and stuff and, like, its supposed benefits and blah, 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 blah. No.
No,
No.
It's all based off of, like, a bullshit medical theory.
Yeah.
So they kill him.
Yeah.
How do we get from here to zombie?
At roughly 10:30 p.m., December 14th, so this went on for 2 days. Like, he took ill the night of December 12th, and for 2 days, this poor president, former president, George Washington languishes in misery from these doctors trying to save him, and he dies from the mysterious throat ailment.
Good news. We stopped the infection.
Yeah, sure, okay. I'm sure that was deeply, deeply comforting to Martha Washington, who had just lost her husband.
As well as all future infections.
Jesus. The cure-all, death. All right, so enter Dr. William Thornton, who was a good friend of George Washington and one of the doctors that was summoned, right? He just lived further away, so he got there later. By the time he got there, the president was gone. His friend, former president, you know, the patient that he'd been summoned to help,
Yeah.
is dead. And this dude, he was an expert in tracheotomies.
That's phenomenal.
Okay.
Because that is the thing. Like, once your throat closes, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
You're in this time period, you're not breathing. There's
So-
no-
I understand why they sent for this guy twofold. Not only is he George Washington's friend, but he is the throat doctor at this point. Like, you know, oh, it's difficult for you to breathe. Your throat is closing. You very clearly have some swelling. Let's call the guy that can punch a hole in you and you live.
yeah.
Right? So he gets there and he is convinced that he can help George. And he gets there, but it's too late. George has passed. George has passed to the point where he's kind of frozen because middle of winter
And rigor.
and rigor, obviously. So if rigor set in,
You dead.
you dead. You dead. You are 20 points in the negative. That is nothing short of a scroll of wish is bringing you back. Divine intervention Tain't happening. So, December 15th, 1799, Thornton looked at his friend's corpse and said, I can fix that.
Wow.
The plan was to slowly defrost and warm Washington's body with lukewarm water and blankets. Like they were warming his body back up, which, okay, your theory's ever so slightly sound. However, problem remains anyway.
Yeah, he's thinking he's not truly dead.
Yeah. He's thinking that he's trying to warm the vessels up because they've begun to understand the circulatory system. Like they know there's a series of tubes in the body that carry the blood and everywhere it needs to go. They've begun to understand that. And he's like, all right, I just need to defrost everything and get it moving again. Hold up, I'm an expert in tracheotomies. All right, guys, here's the plan. This man is convinced that once he has warmed up the president's body and has performed a tracheotomy so that he can inflate the president's lungs to bring breath back to him.
All right. I mean, it's crazy because we know he's super dead, but like, you know, if a guy got like coded on a table, they'd be like, they don't have heart monitors or anything, so he's just like,
I know. They're working with what information they have, and the information that they have says that breath is the key to life.
Yeah, he's doing proto CPR.
Proto CPR, a little bit of like life support, kind of. They've got he's doing a proto ventilator.
Yeah, made out of like a sheep's bladder and like a fire's bellows.
You are correct. So like I said, the plan was for Thornton to perform a tracheotomy and artificially inflate the president's lungs, recreating respiration, breathing. He's like I just said, the proto-ventilator.
Yeah.
Followed by, and this is the part that's going to send you to the floor probably, a transfusion of lamb's blood. Pause for effect.
I cannot. I'm trying to trace back through like my historical knowledge of like when blood transfusion was first tried, because the thing is, I know that it started with like lambs.
So I told you that story to tell you this one.
I cannot help but think while you're reading that, though, that there's a certain poetry in the fact that this is the third day.
Right? Anyway, it doesn't work. And obviously, like, basically, let me assuage some anxieties here. Martha eventually says, whoa, 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 stop, 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 stop. You're done. Let's not do this. No. Like, apparently the lamb's blood was too much for her.
Yeah, no shit. And on the 8th day, they put him in a cannon and shot him over a house.
Remember that this is 1779, right? They're hypothetically attempting to revive the first president of the United States.
By
and
putting
I get
living blood inside of him.
I get where they're going with that, the whole vitae thing. I understand. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time that a blood transfusion has been attempted, as you just said. In 1492, a lot of shit's going down. Obviously. We all know the rhyme.
Yeah.
However, Pope Innocent III has fallen ill and fallen into a coma, and the Vatican is freaking the fuck out. Because the Pope's down. I repeat, the Pope is down. Like I said, told you that story to tell you this one. His doctor, the physician presiding over the Pope, prescribed blood now. I don't know if anybody else has watched Da Vinci's Demons, but in the show, it is a blood transfusion is depicted. And I, being pseudo-medical as I am, was going, no, the whole time. However, the transfusion is successful in the show because drama. Anyway.
Well, there's one historical example of it working for like a couple of days. And the thing is, like, but then of course it's not human.
Well, there are several examples of these blood transfusions working. However, our Pope Innocent over here ain't one of them because they don't understand the vascular system. So this doctor prescribes all of this blood to save and wake up the Pope by making the Pope sleeping, the comatose Pope, drink it.
Phenomenal.
So he recruits 3 young boys, drains them of their blood, feeds it to comatose Pope, and everybody fucking dies. The Pope dies. All 3 of the volunteer boys die.
Do they die of infection or do they just
Blood
take their
loss?
Blood. That's crazy. This is like some Warhammer 40K shit.
I know. I thought the same thing while I was reading it because
they marched in a couple of psychers to keep
So-
them alive.
I told you Zombie George Washington to tell you the history of the blood transfusion. That began in 1492.
Oh, right now Columbus is also doing something very fucked up.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot going on in 1492. So everybody dies. This is unsuccessful. Obviously, they've done it the entirely wrong way. And, not to mention, and probably most of our listeners are going, but wait, aren't blood types a thing? Why, yes, dear listener. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But I'm going to piss you off further before we even get there. So, later in 1628, a physician named William Harvey and the proposal of a bodily circulatory system and the hypothesis that one could introduce new blood to save said system if somebody was dying. Hello, introduction of the vascular system, or the beginning of understanding it. Gritty period in time, people are losing limbs and dying and bleeding out, and
sure.
like
And,
there's infection, all that jazz.
And I remember reading about this and then like a person kind of commentating that if a person is bleeding to death, taking the chance on them dying of shock later is still a chance that they might live.
Because you might get it right.
Because even if you don't, like the body might handle it a little
Well,
bit.
and you also have to think about speaking on blood types. Like some regions, some areas have concentrated blood types, and I've actually made a note of that because the Incas were also documented, confirmed doing transfusions in the 1500s successfully because of the prevalence of the type O in that area.
Oh shit! Okay.
So
So they just have a much higher chance of getting it right.
yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody and their mother. Not only type O is also the universal donor.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows that. And if you don't know that, today you learned. But like I said, there are myriad of complications and reasons they shouldn't have been doing this. But in 1665, Richard Lowen proves him right by transfusing blood between dogs. Now, granted, they were doing it for various reasons and hypotheses because they were like, can you make an aggressive dog timid by transfusing timid blood into the aggressive dog and vice versa? And blah, 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 blah. Weird theories. We are in the scientific age of fuck around and find out, unfortunately.
Yeah. And again, way more likely to be successful because
Yeah.
they're probably brothers. Like the dogs are probably
Yeah,
related.
they're usually either from the same litter or some from the same
Yeah.
kennel. Like there's a higher probability of them sharing genetic markers. Now, granted, that said, family members can have different blood types. I know that I had a different blood type than my mother. My father and I share a blood type, not me and my mother, which would have caused mad crazy complications for any siblings I might have had. In 1667, Jean-Baptiste, I'm sure you know that name, Jean-Baptiste Demy performs the first successful animal-to-human transfusion using lamb's blood.
Yeah. This is the one that I was
Yeah.
talking about earlier. But
So-
I know of one example.
And he goes on to continuously do this. Now, granted, you and I were possibly thinking the exact same thing of the fuck. How did none of these people die? Well, the actual truth is several people did die,
Yeah.
but he was transfusing in very small amounts. He was doing 12 ounces.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could probably survive it. It might put you in a shock. It might make you really sick.
Mm.
You'd probably survive it.
Apparently, the people that died horrifically enough that France bans transfusions, entirely, altogether in 1670. Or 1670 or 1678. There's a little bit of a toss-up, on what I was reading between those two dates, which I know that's an 8-year gap, but given the materials that I was reading, the first official recorded human-to-human transfusion was in 1818 and done by James Blundell to treat postpartum hemorrhage, which tracks.
This is like, she's going to die. Let's take a chance.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
But it was successful. However, all of us screaming, but blood types! Blood types wouldn't be discovered until like 1900.
Like, you need so much scientific
And
advancement.
that's ABO blood types. Like, those are like the OGs. Like, we now have RH. Like, we've now discovered RH. Let me put it that way. Consider that. Blood types won't be discovered until like the early 1900s. We had some maverick doctors doing people to animal transfusions. Woo!
Yep. We still do some, not for blood, but
well, yeah. We can use like vascular
pig parts, pig arteries.
Thank you. I could not think of artery for some reason. We can use pig parts in people. Have you ever actually wondered like what happens when you get bad like blood that's not meant for you?
I have read that it's like, because I said shock earlier,
Mhm.
and that's what I kind of know it as, but I don't know the nitty gritty of it.
So consider it as a full body allergic reaction. Like, and when I say allergic reaction, I mean like that moment before anaphylaxis where you have sudden and extreme high fever. You are like the kind of fever that makes you shiver.
Yeah.
It is we're talking like pain everywhere in your body, like your back, your joints, your chest. Like,
Yeah, it's got to be.
it is your entire. Think of how quickly have you ever gotten like anesthesia through an IV line?
Yeah.
How quickly you knock out?
Yeah.
Like, you are count back from 10 and you don't make it past 6. Transfusions also go that fast.
Jeez.
So that blood hits your system and your entire body goes, what the fuck? And goes into complete attack mode. You're gonna get blood pressure drops because, I mean, first of all, your BP is already gonna be down because you need a transfusion. On top of your body fighting the blood that is being pumped into it, rapid heart rate, acute kidney failure, by the way.
See, that's
your organs will begin to shut down.
Yeah, that's what I would kind of think initially, was that it would be something similar to like massive renal failure.
You are correct. Like, getting an incorrect blood transfusion can in fact kill you.
Yeah, sure.
It just depends on how strong your immune response is. Like I have Crohn's, so that means that my immune system is in attack mode all the time. So getting a bad transfusion would be very bad for me. I would probably fall into one of the sayonara categories. But I typically assume that about anything. Like, somebody looks at me and I'm like, oh, well, gonna die.
No lamb's blood transfusion for you.
Fucking lamb's blood. They, like, okay, I get that science, specifically medical science, needed the fuck around and find out period. Because the more you fuck around, the more you find out. Like, we learned about how the body works from cadavers, and it was illegal to take cadavers apart. Blood transfusions. As early as 1492.
You know that, strangely, though, we had surgery into the skull, like trepanning, goes back thousands of years.
Oh, yeah. Successful trepanning, even.
Circling back to George Washington, he is now dead. They punched a hole in his throat, tried to ventilate him.
Well, no, so Thornton was never allowed to go through with his plan. Like, basically, he was like, I can fix that. And then the rest of the doctors went, fucking how? And then he laid out his plan, and then Martha went, no! Like, rolled up newspaper, smack, no! But I find it deeply interesting that he documented what he would have done, and to follow the thought process behind that. Like, I'm gonna make sure artificial breath, the body has air, has oxygen, can breathe, and then I'm gonna pump it full of fresh blood. Okay, cool. Bro, his heart's not beating. That blood's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah. He hasn't quite made it to the, I'm gonna strap a key to his neck.
You cracked the Benjamin Franklin joke earlier.
Yeah, I was like,
yo, somebody call Benjamin.
Yeah,
Hold up. We need some electricity up in here.
This has, like, you can kind of see the start of what is, like, proper theory, right? Like, if he was cold and wet,
So
they don't know bacteria exists. So in his brain, he's probably thinking that, like, he has an excess of a humor, and also is maybe has hypothermia. So he tries to warm him up, or one of the doctors tries to warm him up immediately, because that will happen to people who are hypothermic. They just pass out.
Yeah, well, he didn't pass out. That's the thing. Recall that he went through the entire evening and was fine.
Oh,
I went to bed.
From their point of view of, like, they come in and he's like not
dead body. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Granted, they, like, tortured him for 2 days before that.
God.
So do they stop? Martha Washington stops.
Yeah,
them.
Martha puts a stop to it. She's like, "No, we're done." And of course, he has this grand funeral procession, and there is a peaceful end to his story. Like, he's celebrated, laid to rest. The nation mourns. His wife mourns. His children. No zombie presidents.
Yeah.
However, this one guy, his friend even was like, "I could have fixed it." No, you couldn't, buddy. No, you couldn't. Maybe sit down. His heart's not working. Even if you had the correct blood type.
So I have a bit of, like, I need to look this up to see what year it happened. But so you're aware of like a piece of metal that has, like, a bunch of zinc coating. It's called a galvanized pipe. So there was a scientific study called galvanization, in which a guy whose last name was like Galvino was hooking electric diodes up to frogs and causing the muscles to twitch.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I'm familiar.
he had this, I think it was Galvino, but he had, like, at one point, his, like, upper balcony, a bunch of, like, dead frogs on the thing, because they were studying the static discharge of a storm, and it would start to make them move, which is the most morbid shit ever. Like, really weird way to decorate your balcony. Bunch of dead.
Bet his neighbors loved him.
Yeah, and I stole that joke. Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, that's a good
great
one.
book. Excellent book. So I wonder, in their mind, we're entering a part in history where things are being rapidly demystified. I've always wondered, with the lamb's blood, if there was a touch of religion in there.
Yes. Lambs were considered pure, and the animals in general were typically considered pure, like pure of soul, pure of spirit, pure of mind, because they were animals. They were simple.
Yeah.
And, like, animal is not man, therefore cannot know, like, greed, rage, all that jazz. And yes, you are correct. In ye early olden days of fuck around and find out, that was why the lamb was chosen.
It's literally like one of the holy animals.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're from the, like, the Christian world, is that it's
and
like
the crazy part
doves
is
and lambs.
in early transfusions, there was one guy who was mentally unwell, who was given a transfusion. Like, if I recall what I read correctly, he had, like, various types of mania attached to him. And once he received the transfusion of lamb's blood, this man now claimed to be a sheep.
Huh.
Now, the crazy guy survived the transfusion, but also claimed to now be a sheep.
Yeah. Because in his mind, they just filled him up with what makes a sheep a sheep.
Yeah.
So, like, he's a sheep.
And I imagine that early transfusions would have been very, very, very slow.
They would have had to have been.
So even 12 ounces, which is a relatively small amount.
Jeez. Fuck. Look, so there's one thing when we think about history and the way that people could make things. Technology, as far as, like, small mechanical metal objects.
Oh, yeah.
Was much more impressive.
I imagine those needles look like cannons.
Well, so here's the thing.
Because it would have had to have been hollow rather than a sewing needle.
But that's true. Like, they were not good at that. Catheters were giant.
Oh, yeah.
All the way up into the 1800s.
And, like, I imagine that the tubing that they would have used to, like, you know, transport said blood was probably intestines of some sort.
100%. 100% it was intestine.
Which,
But
I mean, all right, valid.
yeah, but
Let's.
the actual like small clockwork mechanisms, like small like movable metal mechanisms, people were very good at because the
Oh yeah,
catheters.
have you seen the images of like the valves from early transfusions?
No, no.
Like there are some to piggyback onto what you were just saying about the fine mechanical element of it. Um, I've seen etchings of it. I've never seen the device itself. I don't know if any have survived history, but the images and like the kind of like exploded diagram of how this valve worked for transfusions involves tiny delicate clockwork pieces.
Sure.
And those all would have been machined and not machined, not even machined at this point.
No,
That
the hand cut.
that would have been hand cut and hand filed.
Yeah.
And that is just insane to me.
Well, like when you go to like you start to look up the history of say like Munich, right? You go into Munich in like the 1500s.
Mm-hmm.
People are making like clockwork hands,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
prosthetics. So like on one hand, they are very technically inferior when it comes to things like medicine. But when you look at what craftsmen could create, because we think of mechanisms like this in terms of like steel.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, well, they couldn't have possibly been able to make like a hollow needle out of steel, and that's true. But they definitely could have made it out of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like when you look at like soft metals like silver,
The what few colored images I could find of it, it looked like it was brass.
yeah, a poured
Yeah.
substance. So like people got really good at making very fine things right around this time
Mm-hmm.
period, like 1500s is when you really see like an explosion of like guild crafts.
This is also right in and around the age where we got that really magnificent suit of armor that's entirely articulated all over the place. I believe it was made for King Henry, or was it one of the French kings?
So Henry has one. The one that a lot of people think of is the Holy Roman Emperor, the Maximilian.
Possibly.
That's a little later in history, like well, Renaissance, German Renaissance. But but his is the badass one. Like the horse is fully articulated.
No, the one I'm thinking of is just a suit of armor. So I think I may be thinking of Henry's.
He's got a very famous like foot armor.
There is you can literally just like make the foot armor that I cannot think of the name of.
His oh my god.
It's the part that literally goes over the foot.
Yeah, Sabaton.
Thank you.
Yeah. God, I'm a nerd.
You can make it do the wave.
Yeah. Because it's got faults and lames.
It's insane how talented and skilled they were. It makes me so crazy that we had these incredible, like intelligent, talented, skilled craftsmen, and they were using lamb's blood.
Yeah.
You can make the most perfect transfusion device ever. But my God, if you're transfusing like animal blood into a human, that human is going to die in any kind of like large volume. Or if this person is particularly like immunocompromised.
Right. Which you would have no way of knowing.
Yeah, you'd have no idea.
And then also like because this is like the 1400s and even into the 1700s. Like this sticks around for a long time. You have ideas like this food might be poisoned. Let me rub a narwhal horn on it.
And the worst part is some of them are true.
Yeah.
Like silver will tarnish in some poisons.
Yeah, it's like cyanide. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you dip a silver spoon into your bowl and pull your spoon back up and your spoon is tarnished. That's fucking poison.
Yeah. Right. Some of it
Thank you, Chinese
true.
dramas, for telling me that, because I looked that shit up. That can't be right. Oh my God, it is.
Apothecary Diaries.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent show. But like they were able to test anatomically for how you died of several poisons. They had a lot of like really good legitimate knowledge. When you read about books of like any kind of soldiery,
Mm-hmm.
like the way in which cannons were made or how they were aimed or how they were calculated, it's very advanced. Like they're all doing mathematics. They have tables. They have very specific instruments for like gauging angles for
But
cannons.
Jesus Christ, the medicine was so lacking.
Fucking wild.
It was the Wild West,
Yeah.
dude.
Early dentistry is kind of like, oh, you need a new tooth? I'm going to physically put another human being's tooth into your gum.
And it'll work briefly.
Sometimes it works.
Briefly, like for like 2 or 3 years, it has the possibility to work.
Yeah. Like it's one part science and one part like magic.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what's happening. They just have a lot of theories about stuff.
And like the herbal medicine, how much of that was right? How much of it was correct, you know? And then how much of it was gobbledygook?
Enough, I'll tell you, enough was right that by like the 1800s, a common way to pass snake oil, like if you have a bunch of bullshit you're trying to sell as a businessman, you just call it ancient Native American knowledge. Because enough of it worked that people would be like, oh, okay, the Mohawks used to use this to solve bacterial infection or dandruff in the scalp or whatever. And then people would go like, well, it must have worked.
Yeah.
In reality,
like I applaud human ingenuity and curiosity.
Yeah.
Like that says a lot for us as a species of just like being curious and being willing. So let me leave you with this last little bit. To find out your blood type, to avoid this horrible going into shock, possibly dying, you know, your organs shutting down due to getting the wrong blood, you can ask your doctor to test you or see if it's already on your medical charts, or it's as simple as going to a blood drive.
That's right.
They will test you on the spot. And considering that we live in a chronic state of like blood shortages, it's never a bad time to go donate blood if you can. So I'm gonna be the responsible one for like once in this entire podcast. I have never once come to bat with this, but you can find a local blood drive near you by visiting redcrossblood.org/give. You can type in your zip code and find one like anywhere around you, and I guarantee you there's usually 2 or 3 at any given moment. You can also donate at local hospitals. But you can find out your blood type. A lot of them will also offer screenings.
Oh, hell yeah.
For various things that can be found in your blood, so you can, get a heads up on that. It's just kind of responsible, and, you could save a life. I'm just saying. Like, you don't donate a little pouch of blood and make a vampire somewhere happy. Or, save a car accident victim.
Yeah. Reanimate George Washington.
Reanimate George Washington. Zombie president. Yes.
Dude, had that shit worked, even like not worked because they did something right, but worked because they just got lucky.
And he just wasn't all the way dead yet?
Yeah.
Well, according to like the 3 different accounts of this that I read, because I limited myself to 3 because there were a lot. People have opinions about this. He was frozen. Like frozen. Like knock on his forehead frozen, which was why they needed to thaw him out before they could do the tracheotomy and possible lamb's blood transfusion. Listen, this story stuck me so sideways. I was in the middle of doing research about the Black Plague because you did syphilis, so I was going to counter with the Black Plague. I was ready. I was going to do it. And then this one popped up on one of those little like wiki like aside things like you're reading this, you might be interested in da-da-da. And I was like, excuse me, what? What? And here we are. And I just decided that you had to know about this, and then it rabbit holed into like the history of blood transfusions.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And maybe like the first ventilation machine.
Yes, artificial ventilator. Artificial ventilator. I can't call it medieval.
Yeah.
I don't have a word for this.
Georgian, let's say. About like because King George, not
Yeah.
for George Washington.
Yeah, no. I got you. I was like, that's roughly.
Yeah. Age of Enlightenment.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the story of the almost zombie president, and blood transfusions. Enjoy that.
The slow murder of George Washington.
Across 2 days, as they took 32 ounces of blood from a 70-year-old man. and then made him vomit and produced blisters on his skin. 2 days of torture before just dying, and then having your buddy roll up and being like, I can fix that.
Jeez.
Let me at him. Just Martha Washington with a rolled up newspaper. No. Down.
Stop playing with the corpse of my husband.
So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed that one. It was a lot of fun for me. It definitely dissolved into what the fuck so early on this one. But I had a lot of fun with it, and it was morbid enough, and I figured it would lighten the mood just a little bit, because somebody tried to reanimate George Washington.
Here's a fun fanfic somebody can write.
It worked.
Or he goes on a presidential tour, but like Weekend at Bernie's style.
Yes. The president's fine. What are you talking about? His nose just fell off. Does he have syphilis? But Tish.
We talked earlier. We have a new subscriber.
Yeah, that's Jesse.
Okay, that's the one I saw on the thing. I was like, they had a name, and I was gonna like a YouTube name. Not awesome.
I told her I was doing research for the podcast, and she goes, oh, I forgot. And she's like, you got one more subscriber. I was like, thank you. You're adorable. I need you to like be outraged at all of this back-ass words medicine with me, please. Oh my gosh.
What's wild to me?
Huh.
Look, at the same time that a lot of this stuff is going on, also, people are trying to understand how to dive in water for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Early diving apparatus is nuts.
By the time that the Civil War happens, the submarine has been invented.
Mm-hmm.
Airships exist, not Zeppelins, but hot air balloons for the purpose of spying and artillery placement.
Which, I mean, how do you spy with a hot air balloon?
Big ass, like a telescope, but you just point it wherever you're pointing it, right? Like, so
how do you not get seen? How do you
do?
You don't miss a hot air balloon.
They just can't hit you. They're gonna point their musket up at you.
Jesus. Can you imagine, sir? There's a what the fuck is that above us?
And a couple of times during the Civil War, their balloons drifted behind enemy lines, and they'd be caught. And then, like, half the guys were just like, "What's it like?" Because, like,
I want to know what's up there.
Yeah, like, right. So, anyways, thank you for listening.
We're tangenting. Welcome to a real life peek into like what conversation is like in the wild between the two of us. It's nuts. We've gone from zombie presidents to like hot air balloons. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did, like doing the research for it, because this one was just what after I can't. Anyway.
He made it through 3 international conflicts. French and Indian War, Revolutionary War. He died before 1812.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Part
get
2.
that one. Yeah. Part 2, right. They did better in the second one.
They had us in the first half, but we got them in the end. Anyway, all right, we're done. We're done. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Hey, this is Brian from Morbid Mondays. If you like the show, please consider stopping by at our Ko-fi account. That's ko-fi/Morbid Mondays. It's $1 a month, or just any one-time tip. And if you would like to help us fund our future endeavors or just want to show a little bit of appreciation, awesome. Thank you so much for listening. And if you don't. Whatever. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening.